Hello everybody, this is John. Welcome to the NCGA Valent Ag Weather Outlook, May 27th, 2017. I don't know about you, but I'm always worried about, is it going to get hot and dry as we get into the summer? But so far it's been modest temperatures and over the last week cool in most spots. Question is, will this last? There's also adequate soil moisture over a majority of the Corn Belt. Not all, but a good majority. That's good news right now, isn't it? So we look at temperatures, we can see the cool temperatures over the central part of the U.S. that extended over most of the Corn Belt. Perhaps the eastern section, Ohio, wasn't quite as much, but pretty much it was a pleasantly and surprisingly cool week. Precipitation was quite modest. There was some precipitation over Indiana, surrounding states, but other than that, pretty quiet. And again, that's what you'd expect with this cool air. It's a stable air mass, cool and stable air over the last week. Now let's go back over the 30-day period. And I think this pretty clearly shows you who received the most rain. Now, if we get over sort of the darker shades of orange into the red, that's a pretty soaking rain. That's over 4 inches of rain. But the red is over 6 inches of rain. Purple's over a foot of rain. So the eastern Corn Belt has certainly had adequate soil moisture due to precipitation, as well as much of the central Corn Belt. But there's certainly a need for more rain over the upper Midwest, the Dakotas, parts of Minnesota. And also, even though there's been enough rain, it looks like this area in yellow here, this light yellow, that's a little bit less. And probably a bit more rain could be used in eastern parts of Iowa, Michigan, and smaller parts of Wisconsin. Now this week we are going to have some energy pushing through. This is the trough, the upper trough of that brought the cooler weather. It looks like it's still in this region right here. And what that's going to do is going to bring a secondary cool front through and produce some rain. Now, the heaviest rain is going to be to our south of the Corn Belt. This is late Sunday. You can see the front's already passed through by late Sunday. So most of the action is going to be Saturday into Sunday, and then that system's going to be passed. And in its wake, we're going to have another round of somewhat cooler air. Now, it's not going to be as cool as we saw over the past week, but it will be cool, and that cool air is, again, a stable air mass. So when we look at the forecast, it looks very similar to last week, where we have some pockets of moderate rainfall, and we're also going to have a severe storm threat. But overall, it looks like it's going to be a fairly uneventful week, cooler week, once this system moves through. Well, there's a fairly significant threat for severe weather today, Saturday, as indicated in the yellow, the brown, and especially the red moderate risk, but mainly in this enhanced and moderate risk, very significant risk of tornadoes and severe weather. Then as we get into Sunday, you can see it pushes to the east over the eastern Corn Belt, but not as high of risk as today on Saturday. Now, as we get into the 6 to 10 day period, I wanted to show you that this area, dip in the jet stream, remember that's associated with cooler air, pushes to the east and the ridge starts to build in the west. So what we see are temperatures over most of the Corn Belt fairly close to normal in the 6 to 10 day range, trending a little bit cooler in the east, trending a little bit warmer in the west. Then as we get into the 11 to 15 day range, look at that mean position of that trough is still in there. It's not all that strong. You can see not much shading there, but we're looking at cooler temperatures again. So this pattern of cooler weather right now, and when I say cooler, I mean normal, maybe a little bit below normal, maybe a little bit above normal on occasion, but averaging close to or a little bit below normal. Right now, models are saying the next 15 days over most of the central and eastern Corn Belt. At least no sign of blazing heat. Now, the west will be a little bit warmer, the far western Corn Belt. So week 2, it looks like an uneventful week, except for a small part of the central and eastern Corn Belt right in here, parts of eastern Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, Kentucky. Then as we get into week 2, very little change. So looks like areas that have been wet could be getting wetter, areas that are dry probably staying dry. Right now it looks like most of the Corn Belt, when we average out the next 10 days, you can see brown. That's indicating soil's drying, but again, it's going to be a bit scattered. Weeks 3 and 4, pretty much equal chances one way or the other for temperature. And this is indicating that the central and eastern Corn Belt could remain on the wet side on weeks 3 and 4. So if you're up in the upper Midwest looking for more rain, I don't see it right now. It doesn't look all that good. If you're in the eastern Corn Belt, you want some drier weather. Well, I do see some drier weather, but I still see us being prone towards more rainfall. In case you missed it this week, here's the Atlantic hurricane season. Due to lack of an El Nino or a significant El Nino, it's a possibility of getting more Atlantic hurricanes. The hurricane season starts right around the corner, June 1st. So I think I covered all the main alerts. Some cooler air pushing in again, not as cool as last week. Some modest rainfall here and there, especially over the south central and southern Corn Belt, south central parts of Missouri, and then southern parts of Illinois and Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. But that's where the action will be. Other spots should be fairly quiet. I think it'll be fairly quiet rainfall pattern over the next week as we present that briefing again next weekend. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Take care.